Have you ever looked at one of those gorgeous, lush patio gardens and then kind of glanced over at your own sad, shriveled plants and just wondered, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, we have all been there. But here's the thing, it's not about having some magical green thumb. Nope. It's really just about knowing a few simple secrets that can turn that frustration into a fantastic harvest. So let's dive in. I mean, this is the dream, right? A beautiful, overflowing garden right on your doorstep. And I'm telling you, it is completely achievable. The key isn't some secret gardening talent. It's just about getting the basic setup right. You get that foundation solid, and believe me, you're already halfway to the finish line. And hey, if you've ever felt that frustration, you are in very good company. Even a gardening pro like Nicole Burke has been there. So this isn't a story about failure, you know? It's really the starting point for figuring out what actually truly works. So here is the most important thing I want you to take away today. If your container garden has failed in the past, it wasn't your fault. It was your setup. And we are going to fix that right now by focusing on 3 core pillars that will transform that past frustration into a flourishing garden. Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation, the pot itself. It's so much more than just something to hold dirt. Think of it as your plant's entire home. Choosing the right one is, without a doubt, the first and most critical step to success. If you only remember one thing from this section, please make it this number, 12 inches. Your pot should be at least 12 inches wide and 12 inches deep. That is your new bare minimum. I know it can feel a little weird putting a tiny plant in a big pot, but trust me, bigger is always better here. A larger pot holds way more soil, which means more moisture, more nutrients, and it gives you a much-needed buffer if you forget to water one day. And this is what you get for it. When the roots have all that space to stretch out and get comfortable, the plant above ground can just explode with growth. This is how you avoid those stressed-out, root-bound plants and get lush, healthy ones instead. And what does that mean? A bigger harvest for you. The difference that little bit of extra space makes is just incredible. All right, let's get specific with a plant we all love, tomatoes. Now, not all tomatoes are created equal, right? A little bush cherry tomato, yeah, it'll probably do just fine in a 5-gallon pot. But one of those big, vining, indeterminate types that just grows and grows, oh yeah, that guy needs a massive 15 to 20-gallon home to really show you what it can do. So you always want to match the pot size to the plant's ambition. And here we go. This is probably the single biggest killer of container plants. It doesn't matter how pretty a pot is, if it doesn't have drainage holes, it's basically a death trap. Your plant's roots have to breathe. If they're sitting in a puddle of water, they will rot. End of story. So make sure your pot has a bunch of holes, and hey, pro tip, raise it up on some little blocks to let air circulate underneath. It makes a huge difference. Okay, moving on to pillar number 2. You've picked out the perfect container, but what you fill it with is every bit as important. I mean, think about it. For a plant in a pot, that soil is its entire universe. It's where it gets every last drop of water, air, and food. Now, this is so important. I know it's tempting to just go scoop some dirt out of your backyard, but please don't do it. Garden soil is just way too heavy. Inside a pot, it compacts down and basically turns into a brick, which chokes the roots. A good potting mix, on the other hand, is specifically designed to be the total opposite. Light, fluffy, and perfectly balanced to hold moisture while still letting air get to those roots. And you know what? You can totally make your own fantastic mix. Just think of it like a simple recipe. You do 1 part good quality compost for all those nutrients, then 1 part topsoil for some body and structure, and finally 1 part coarse sand or something like coco coir to keep it light and help with drainage. It's a super simple formula for creating the absolute perfect home for your plants. All right, you've got the perfect pot and the perfect soil. So you've built the perfect house. The final pillar is all about the ongoing care, that daily rhythm of watering and feeding that's going to keep your garden happy and healthy all season long. So how do you know when you should water? It's actually super simple. Forget about calendars or trying to guess. The best tool you have is literally right at the end of your arm. It's your finger. Just stick it 2 inches down into the soil. If it feels dry, it's time to water. If it feels damp, just wait. This one simple test will save you from both over and underwatering. Now, when you do water, you gotta make it count. Just a quick little sprinkle on top only wets the surface, and that actually does more harm than good. You need to water deeply. I mean, really soak it, until you see water running out of those drainage holes at the bottom. This is what encourages the roots to grow down deep and strong, which creates a way more resilient and healthy plant. And here's another pro tip for you. A plant's diet actually needs to change as it gets older. For that first month or so, think of it as building the factory. A balanced fertilizer helps it grow big, strong leaves and stems. But as soon as you see those first flowers pop up, it's time to switch gears into production mode. A feed that's higher in potassium, that's the last number in that 5-10-10 ratio, basically tells the plant, okay, stop focusing on leaves and start putting your energy into making delicious fruits and veggies. So there you have it. We've gone from all those common frustrations of container gardening to a really clear, simple path to success. See, it's not about luck at all. It's just about applying these foundational principles. So let's just boil it all down into one simple formula. Number 1, big pots, at least 12 inches. Number 2, good soil, a proper potting mix, not that heavy stuff from the yard. 3, smart watering, using that 2-inch finger test. And 4, the right food at the right time. That's it. That is the whole secret to success, right there. And this is what it's all about. It all starts with just a tiny little seedling. But when you give it the right container, the right soil, water, and food, you create the perfect conditions for this, an amazing, bountiful harvest. This is your reward for getting that set up right from the very beginning. The knowledge is officially yours. That empty patio, that balcony, that windowsill, it's just a blank canvas, and it is filled with potential. So really, the only question left to ask is, what are you going to grow first?